Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, JusJrdn here, and welcome to the first episode of A Moment with Jay. I just wanted to hop on the mic and say, I know the world been a little chaotic and everything. I just wanted to check and make sure everything good in the hood like sure, you know what I mean? Say hi to the fam. Okay, let's get to work. What up? So what you lost? Yeah, this is cool. I'm actually mad excited right now. I've been asking people, and people have been giving me their input about the kind of content I should be making, and I'm just trying to provide the most people the most value, and have fun and do some of the things that I like to do. So I think just given the opportunity and everything, I think now was a great time to start a podcast. If you don't know who I am, I'm JusJrdn. I'm a artist / entrepreneur, I guess is what you could call me, from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I've been making music for about a decade now. About to release my second full-length album called Olympus. I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm sure we'll talk about it as we go on with this podcast, and I'm sure I'll mention it a billion times. I've been talking about it for the last few years. But on top of making music, I like to make all kinds of stuff. A lot of random fact about me. I guess if you don't know who I am, every fact I say about me today will be a random fact. So here's just another one, I guess. I love to cook. I'm thinking about making another cheesecake today. This freaking Biscuit. I don't know how you say it. We're going to pop it up right now. If you only listening, you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to pull it up for y'all because it looked delicious. Come on now. Sheesh. Oh, it's like this burnt ass cheesecake. You cook it really, really high. Anyways, this is not a podcast about cheesecake, but I'm sure I'm going to be mentioning cheesecake. Only it's the first episode, and I'm already talking about it. But it's because I made my mama a cheesecake for Mother's Day. Just a regular New York style cheesecake. But this burnt Biscuit, I don't know how to say it. Cheesecake. Anyways, it looks delicious. Y'all see that? Amazing. Anyways, what was I even talking about? Oh, I disappeared. I'm back. This might be a first weird. This first episode might be a little weird. We still figuring stuff out, but I think it'll be fun. And I already have a bunch of people. I posted about this, about what kind of cover art and about the name and everything. And a bunch of people slid in my DMs on Instagram at JusJrdn, JusJrdn. I know the spelling is weird, but I'm an artist. I'm an artist, baby. That's just how it is. Anyways, a bunch of people already slid into the DMs, want to be guests on the show. And so I think we eventually will have some guests. But I just wanted to hop on and do this first one solo, I think it's, a good friend of mine, he told me I needed to once a week, and this was years ago, just set up my cell phone at the end of every week and just talk into my phone for whatever amount of time. And, on top of that advice, shout out Cole Robinson, aka the Snake Diet Wizard, and my sister even told me, shout out to Faith, and so many other people have told me that I should hop on the podcast, and so here I am. So we'll see what this turns into. I think we got this first one looking good. I hope it's sounding good. As well. And honestly, I just want to say thank you to anyone who's even listening and made it whatever, 5 minutes into the podcast. I honestly am so excited to be doing this. I don't even know why I'm so excited, but I am. I think it's just going to give me a platform to share and, grow. I just like to do new things, and this is a new thing to do. We're going to be dropping it once a week, so tune in weekly. I haven't decided at this very point if we're doing it every Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but it'll be one of those days. So whatever day you're getting this on, just know it's going to be dropping the same day next week. So we're going to be doing it once a week. And then from there, we'll see what happens. I got some cool people that I do want to interview because I'm just a curious person, and we're just going to, just like my art form, and just like if you've ever worked with me on a project or something, I'm pretty, what's the term I want to use here? Loosey-goosey? Loosey-goosey. Because I just like to create things, and I just like to try things, and I just like to have cool experiences. So I just thought that this would be a cool experience to have. If nobody listens, nobody listens. If somebody's listening, thank you so much. That's dope, and I'm so grateful. I'm just grateful to have the opportunity. Shout out to my brother BP, Brandon Parizo, for letting me use his laptop and his setup. It makes it look sick. And so I'm starting off, I think, on a good foot. So I'm pretty excited. Anyways, I'm pretty excited if you couldn't tell. I've said it a million times. But yeah, just like I was saying, I like to experience some crazy things. And so I thought I would talk about some of the crazy experiences that I've had over the last few months. And yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So the last few times I've stepped on stage, as I said, I'm a hip hop artist. Go, stream the music. It's everywhere. I just dropped a track with this dude named David out in Montreal. We did this program called the Canadian Music Incubator together. And it was during the pandemic, I believe. And it was online. And me and, 12 other artists from all around Canada got to take this program for 6 to 8 weeks, whatever it was, and learn about all kinds of things in the music industry. One of the guy who founded it, Val, was the vice president of Sony Canada for I think 10 years or something like that. Crazy. And his staff and everyone working there is so cool and so knowledgeable. They brought in crazy, really established artists. They brought in lawyers and music lawyers, music accountants, all record label marketers, and you could ask questions, and you learn from all these really established people in the industry, and it was a really cool thing to do for a couple of weeks. I got to sit and make a project with Beat Child. Shout out Beat Child. Maybe one day we'll finish that track. It's a pretty cool demo right now. Anyway, so I met David, was also in the program with me, and yeah, we decided to make a track together. He made a couple songs with a couple other artists that were in this project, but I'm really, really hyped about ours. It's called Chasing the Feeling. It's doing pretty well right now. Pardon me. Yeah, so it's been really, really fun. That was a cool opportunity. Music's a cool thing like that. We don't even have to be in the same place to be making art together. Don't get me wrong, it's always cool. And me and David have talked about it, linking up, sitting down, smoking a joint, drinking a beer, whatever it is, and I'm chilling out because we've known each other, I don't know, maybe a year or something, and we've never been in the same room. But we've dropped some music together, and we might even got another track coming for y'all soon. I don't know when we're doing that one, but that one's crazy too. But go check out Chasing the Feeling. It's streaming everywhere. Yeah, so that was a whole thing. So that was a cool thing that we did and making that music. But one thing, yeah, that's what I was talking about. The last couple shows I've been performing at, the last one I did was with Thug Shells at her rap night at River City Revival in Edmonton. Cool show. Always a fun time to be around Thug Shells. Shout out Thug Shells. She's a really cool human. But I keep talking about this experience that I had, and I wrote a song. It's called 4,000 Weeks, because 4,000 weeks is 75 years. It's about the lifespan of a person. And because I read a book called 4,000 Weeks by, let's look that up real quick. Great book, by the way. Great book. Last thing I looked up was cheesecake. 4,000 Weeks by 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. A book by Oliver Berkman. Great book. Crazy book. Crazy book. And so it talks about some crazy things. So I wrote a song called 4,000 Weeks. It's gonna come out later this year. It's off Olympus 2, which is another project I got coming after Olympus, which is the main vinyl album that I'm dropping later this year. So I know I'm jumping all over the place. Follow me here for a second. So I've been talking about this one experience, and I wrote the song 4,000 Weeks about this experience and this book called 4,000 Weeks. So I use this experience to introduce this song before I do it. I've shown a lot of people the recording of the song, and a lot of people have liked the recording, but when I've gone to play it, it just hasn't translated well to a live audience. I don't know if it's something that I'm doing, or I don't know if the song is like that. Maybe it's just a better recording than it is a live performance. Anyways, that's something I'm figuring out right now. I still hope to drop the song, but I'll go into this. So the experience I'll be talking about is I did this darkness meditation or darkness retreat thing where for 60 hours is what I made. I was going to go for 3 days. And so I considered it a success at 60 hours where I basically blacked out my room. And for 3 days I fasted, and I just sat in silence in this room for 60 hours. Now, people are like, why the fuck would you do that? And there's this UFC fighter. I've wanted to do it for a long time, actually. I saw the thing on Aubrey Marcus. He has a thing where he sat in, and he went to a full-out retreat. Those things are expensive. I couldn't afford that. So I did it the broke boy way. I just did it in my room. But I blacked it out completely. And Aubrey Marcus Darkness. Oh yeah. He got a Awake in the Darkness is what it's called. The full documentary on his YouTube channel, if you want to check it out. Pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. It was wild, man. It was wild. Because, so I spent 3 days in this room fasting. So I saw a UFC fighter do it before his fight. And, man, I love this UFC fighter too. I just can never remember his name. It was like the samurai is his nickname or something now. Yeah, Jerry Prax. I know that's not how you say it. But man, he's just like unreal. Unreal. Yeah, he's Czech. Um, I have no idea how to. But he had that top knot, man, like a straight up samurai. Anyway, so we did a 3-day darkness thing, and at the time I was trying to do a music festival called the Most Astonishing Music Festival. We'll talk about that another day too. That's a whole nother tale. And so I saw this samurai UFC fighter do this 3 days in darkness. And he's, he comes out and he's just like, I had to fight my demons. And I was like, oh, let's go. It's what pushed me over the edge. I've been studying the darkness. I'm really into the health and fitness and just the human experience and biology. I'm a personal trainer by trade. We'll get into that, all that stuff too. Damn, we got lots to talk about. I guess this is why I made a podcast. And so anyways, samurai motherfucker inspired me to finally go do it. So I have a music festival going on at the end of the week that I'm doing. It's not going well either, that music festival, but that's not what we're going to be talking about right now. And so I finally get the courage to go into this darkness, into this room, and so I sit in there for 3 days, and man, it was hard. I've done a lot of crazy things. I've done long fast. I think I did my longest dry fast was 5 days, no food, no water, and I've done dry fast quite a few times. I think my longest just no food but drinking water was 7 days. So I've done all kinds of fasting and stuff like that. Extreme fitness challenges and things like that. Just wild stuff. But after I finished this, man, and this is where the second part of Olympus came from, the Olympus Part 2. Because the first part of Olympus, and I talked about this in interviews, it's like finding your godliness. It's like, you are part human, part God. And that's what I got really into Greek mythology and stuff when I first started, what inspired me to start this album, and Greek philosophy, and now really heavy into Stoicism. I read the Daily Stoic every day. Shout out Ryan Holiday, one of my favorite authors. I do a lot of reading. I love reading. So all of that stuff so the first part of Olympus was this like, you're part God, it's about finding your power and your strength, it's got some crazy songs, sending positive vibes. I end every concert with that song, and I have for the last couple of years just because it's the last song on the album, and I just, at the very end of the day, I'm just hoping to send out positive vibes always, even if I'm talking about some real shit. Hopefully, ultimately, it all comes out into positive vibes in the end, So that's the first part of Olympus, and then the second part I started writing after I did this darkness thing, and because, man, when I was in that, even it's just like, man, just thinking about it and deeply thinking about it, it's making my eyes almost tear up a little bit, because, man, it was hard. Yeah, it was difficult. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, because and that's where Olympus 2 comes from. It's like the descent from the mountain is how I like to think about it. Olympus 1 is finding your godliness and finding your strength and finding your power. And then, it's you are part God. And then the climb down from the mountain, Olympus Part 2, is realizing that you may be part God, but regardless of the afterlife and your beliefs and all of that things, as much as you are a spiritual being, you are in this, regardless, you are a human, and you have faults, and I have faults, and I've made mistakes, and you've made mistakes, and, we're all going to die. And that's where that track 4,000 Weeks comes from. And, it was just like, I contemplate death and dying and all that, you know, because I think it's a healthy thing to do. I think it's one thing in our society that we don't talk about. And I think if people thought about it more often, they would become more grateful. And, you know, sometimes it's just hard. But, you know, all the best things usually are hard. And so after I did that 60 hours in the darkness, you know, I sat in that room and, you know, I remember at the beginning, it was just boring. I was like, oh, man, what did I saw? You can't see anything, can't hear anything. And I was like, man, what did I sign myself up for? You know, why did I do this? And then after a while, man, I just remember this anxiety. And I don't consider myself a very anxious person. I meditate. I take cold showers. I exercise. Even before this podcast, I just made sure to exercise a little bit, hop into a cold shower. Now I'm focused and ready, you know. So I do a lot of stuff to make sure that I'm not anxious, and that, you know, can be as calm and in the now always as possible. It's always my goal. It's just to be right where my feet are, you know, right here, right now. Anyways, so in that darkness, man, you're there. There's nothing going on, you know. There's nothing. It's you. And so, man, so a huge anxiety came over me, and I'm not used to being anxious like that. And, you know, after a while, I started to feel like heavy on my like chest, and it was pretty crazy because it just didn't go away. And, you know, you're waking up and you're falling asleep, and you have no idea what time it is. The one thing I did have was I had somebody in my family come down and just like knock on the wall or on the door at a certain point of once a day, at just a random point of the day. So I would still be unaware of what time it was. And so someone would knock, hey, Jay, you doing okay? Yeah, you need anything? No. And that they would leave. And even just waiting for that first one, it felt like it was forever, you know, like it felt like it was forever before that first one came. And yeah, so I'll kind of do an overview of it. And so what happened was, I was getting this anxiety, and like, you know, you're falling asleep, waking up, all kinds, you know, how much time is passing. I could never tell. It could be 15 minutes. It could be 3-4 hours. Like, you know, it was a crazy experience. You're just so disorientated of the world around you. And, you know, I was getting crazy visuals. I had this book. I brought this book and a pen in the room with me. You couldn't see, but I was just like, there was so much going on. And even like, you know, so it's like some of the writing, I have bad penmanship to begin with. Like, you know, my penmanship is awful, but this is the penmanship in the dark. You know, I don't know if you can see that. I know if you're listening, you can't hear it. But I would write, and what the words say is purple plus blue lights, dice, ? And then like 3, like a triangle. And then in the corner, there's a box, and it says, girl asking, do you mind your chin? Did you mind your chin? Because, man, I would get these crazy hallucinations, crazy images would pop up. And yeah, like, and that was a big one, was these purple and blue flashing lights, and like vivid, like it would feel like the whole room was being lit up in purple and blue lights, like crazy. And then, yeah, there just kept being this, like, I call it a dice because that's what I think it was. It's so hard to explain. But there was like this dice, and I just remember it being like a 3, like there was like dots, and there was like a triangle. And then I remember the very first crazy hallucination was this girl, and I was like in a coffee shop, and and there was a like a young girl there, like my age, if you can consider me young, and she was like, yeah, she just said, "Did you mind your chin?" And I remember I wrote that down like right after the hallucination was gone. I was just like, what the, do you mind? Because then I was fixated on, did you mind your chin? Did you mind your chin? What that means, I still have no idea. And so, like, over the course of a couple days, I wrote all kinds of stuff in this book. This one says, how much is strength? How much is pride? And then again, I made a note of the flashing lights, because there was this time where it was like white lights, and I remember these lights would be it'd be dark and silent, and then boom, like you get like jolted, and it'd be like these white lights, and it just like, it was like dazing, but like, you're surrounded in dark. It was so crazy. Apparently it's from the dimethyltryptamine, the DMT release that you get. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain I'm correct. Is when you're in this darkness and your senses are deprived like this, you're I don't want to say too much of it, but basically natural DMT is released, and that's where these hallucinations are said to be from what I know. Yeah, it's so funny because even this one's pretty cool. It says more devotion to purpose, and it says, what's my purpose? Better art and healthier people. And that's where my company, Prime Purpose Movement, like, I have this, I just remember meditating, and I was like, I know this is what I need to keep doing, and I know this is what the world needs. And that's what my company now, Prime Purpose Movement's all about. It's all about better art and healthier people. I just think when people think art, they might think paintings, they might think music, they might think, but I think about it in such a different way. It's the content, it's the media, it's the branding on things. Like, if things were just better, people don't realize how impressionable the art is around them, and how much that influences your decisions and your mindset, and all that. And then it's just same thing with healthier people. A big thing I think is so important, and the one thing that I'm pushing the hardest now is running boot camps for schools, primarily elementary schools. I just think there's so much value in what I have to offer the next generation like that. I come in, I make the fitness fun. I make it intense. It's hard. They're sweating, they're working. I don't take no crap. And sometimes the teachers join in, and that's always fun too. I went and I taught at my sister's, or I went and did boot camps at my sister's school. And I've been doing these boot camps, but I really want to take it super serious now. Like a big thing is, it's so expensive to tour as an artist, and I'd love to be able to get out and do more shows and stuff. So if you're listening and you're trying to book more shows, shout out to your boy. But also, I want to go run these boot camps. My whole plan and what I'm trying to work up to is eventually, my Monday to Friday, I would be running boot camps for schools and businesses in new cities, Edmonton, all over the place. I could be running boot camps during the week, getting people nice and healthy. We taking some interviews and stuff during the week, and then, hit a show Friday or Saturday night, Thursday night, whatever. And it just makes touring a little bit more feasible for me, because then I can stay posted up in the city for a week or two, hit a bunch of spots, get a bunch of people moving and grooving, moving then grooving. You know what I'm saying? That's cheesy, but I love it. And so, anyways, this all goes back to the darkness. That's a little bit about Prime Purpose Movement. I'll always be talking about that when wearing one of the first hoodies we made right now. That website's going to be coming up soon. Shout out to BP, Brandon the Branded Parizo. That's so funny. We're working on a new website right now, so that will be up, and then you can order more merch, and you'll be able to book me for all kinds of stuff on there as well, and whatever. I'm not trying to make this just a big promotion thing, but anyways, we're going back into the darkness. And while I was in the darkness, I just, I'm just trying to help. That's sometimes I fail at that, and that's another thing. As I'm sitting there and I'm meditating on my purpose and my strength and my pride, and in the darkness, we're kind of jumping all over the place. And I feel like a lot of the time I'm gonna be doing that, but it all comes full circle. You know what I'm saying? So while I'm sitting in the darkness, yeah, and then even that, it's so sick on this next page, man. So this again, that actually, man, that almost made me cry. This page, holy, I haven't looked at this book in a while because it's hard, man, because it reminds me of being in that darkness, and it was hard, man. My eyes are getting teary again. I can't believe this, man. I can't believe this. I won't cry on the podcast. Sheesh. Anyways, if you can see on this page, it says more practice, more songs, more fitness, more health, more better content. Damn, and it's just like a full circle moment right now. I'm out here trying to make better content, literally right now. So it's like it just makes me think that that sacrifice and doing really hard things, simplicity. That's what I wrote on this page, man. Just simplicity. That's all that's written on that page. Damn, and this one says, I miss music the most. Man. I love art. I love creating so much. Whew. So this is just a cool full circle moment, because it's like, man, I get to do these things, and these things are both self and for others, more practice so that I can get better, and I want to be better so that maybe I can help impact other people's lives. More songs. I can make more songs for me, and then maybe I can share more songs for somebody else, and maybe someone else can get a little bit of something for that song. Same thing with fitness and health. I do fitness and health for me. I work out. No one does the push-ups for me. No one, drinking the fucking bullshit healthy drinks and stuff. That's not gonna make you live longer. I mean, unless you do it. I'm talking about it when I drink it. I should just stay with the push-up example. When I do push-ups, it's for me. But when I run boot camps, it's for others. It's to help. It's to try to motivate and inspire, and more better content. Again, it's for me and for others, because it's like, man, I even last night I was just, looking through content to try to get inspired, and I'm like, man, there could be a lot more better content out there. And I think there will be. And there's a lot of really great content. I'm not trying to knock nobody, but I just want to be part of that good, better content for others. Man, we had we talked a lot about this. So let me kind of wrap up the darkness stuff. So I'm sitting in there, you're going through every emotion: happiness, sadness, anger, which is a feeling that I don't like too much. Gratitude. I went through it all. You're sitting there with yourself for 60 hours, and just yourself and just your thoughts, and you go over. I mean, I did. I went over, all the mistakes I've made, all the people that I've wronged, and even my intentions have always been from the start just to try to do more good than bad. And even with that, you make mistakes, and people get hurt, and sometimes you say the wrong things, or you let your emotions, your emotions get the best of you. You're human, I'm human. And, when I was sitting in that darkness, I sat with all those feelings, and man, it hurt. It hurt so bad. And, with the anxiety and then all these bad feelings, and I was doing a bunch of breath work and, trying to sit there meditating. I had enough room to like stretch and try to do some yoga and stuff. I had a night mask too that was completely blackout so that I could walk from my bedroom into the bathroom that was right next door. And so I would have to feel around in the dark with the things on, just so that I wouldn't get any light exposure in case one of the windows or something from the basement alone was just open or something. I don't want to risk it, so then I could go to the bathroom and stuff. And I didn't really have to go to the bathroom or anything really, because I had like maybe 10 liters of water with me, and I maybe drank a liter and a half or 2 liters of water during that whole time, just because I didn't need to really, because I wasn't really doing anything, just laying there. And yeah, I got hungry, but not really, because it was more the boredom. It was, that was, the boredom was extreme. After that, you just could never. After that, like, boredom doesn't really exist in my head anymore, because I was like, that was the most bored I ever was. I've never been more bored than sitting with nothing for 3 days. And so now it's like it's like, man, I could stare at this light for a little while. It's like, wow, look at all the stuff that light has, like you just become, and that was another thing. So there was a period of time, I think this was towards the second day, where, I've been sitting with all these feelings and everything. And then, I can't really remember what did it, but I just felt this weight release, and all these bad feelings, they suck, but they didn't hurt as much anymore. I was more detached from them. And that was a crazy feeling too. Like I just realized that, and that's when I started thinking too. It's like, everyone's gonna die, everything's gonna be gone eventually, and that's okay. That's the way it's always been, is now, and is always going to be. And that's cool. Well, that's cool with me anyways. It's that, like, some things are going to be so sad, and some things are going to hurt so bad, but some things are going to be incredible. Some things are going to be so amazing you can't believe it. And that's the story of life, and I just got to realize that I was laying in my bed in the darkness, in the silence, and I just felt this relief, this euphoria, I would even say. It felt good. Like, I was sitting there and I was like zenned out. I was like, man, if I died right now, everything would move forward still. And that's beautiful. It doesn't stop with me or with anybody individually. And so, like, it was still hard. That was like the greatest thing I think I took out of that, is that, like, we're all gonna die. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna do cool things. It's okay. Everything's okay. Just go out there, try some things. It'll all be okay. Some things, even if some things will be dope, will be sick, will be the illest, will be worth it. Will be worth all the pain and the suffering and the heartbreak and the miss and desire, and it will all be worth it. Certain things, it's like, it's sometimes it's the smallest thing. It's a conversation with your mom. I love my mom, or it's a good piece of cheesecake, a nice joint with a homie, writing the perfect line in a song, maybe teaching somebody something they've never heard or they never knew before, watching a movie with a homie or with your girl or with your whatever, your dog, your fish. Maybe I should get a fish. Anyways, yeah, it was a wild experience. You know what? I didn't think I could talk, so I could talk even longer on this, but I'll kind of wrap it up because I think I've hit a lot of the big points. So it gets to be about 60 hours later. I have no idea. At this time, I have no idea what time it really is. I just know that somebody's knocked on my door twice and checked up on me. So that means that, it's been at least 2 days. It seemed like a very long time from when the last time someone checked on me. So I assumed it might have been around the third day. And I thought it was way later at night. So I come out, I take the blindfold off, I walk out of the room, and instantly I see a little bit of light. And I'm like, whoa. It was just so intense. So intense. This little bit of light. It ends up, I stumble up the stairs. My balance is off. Like it's hard to walk. I feel weak. It's like, man, yeah, I've been in darkness for 3 days. My eyes are adjusting. And I just kind of walk around. It's dark, so I assume it's late at night. But then my sister comes down to the door or something. I can't really remember. And she's like, "Oh my God, you look like a hermit." And I'm sure I was. I was pale. I was out of it. I was like, what's going on? Whoa, look at all these lights. Look at all this stuff. Look at all of this stuff is what I remember. Walls and pillows and couches and windows, and there was trees outside, and there was lights and light fixtures and lights. I was like, man, look at all of these things. Oh, I was so overwhelmed, and even just having that conversation, I was out of it. I like that. We'll bring Faith on one day, and we'll talk to her, and we'll see if she remembers even me coming out, and we'll see if we can get her experience of that. And I just remember that day being very hard, and all day I was very emotional. Several times I just bursted out crying, and I swear I'm not a crier. Even how I was getting teary eyed and stuff out here, I'm not a crier like that. Even though the story I'm telling you is not justifying that. And so, yeah, it was just hard. And I just remember it being so overwhelming. And I remember the first time checking my phone, I also got a message that, and maybe we'll talk about that later on. I'm just not ready to talk about that right now. I got a text, the first message I saw when I booted up my phone again. Oh man, that was hard at that time. It's not hard anymore. It's just a weird thing to talk about. We'll talk about it eventually. Man, I got so many things a good thing I started a podcast. I got so many things to talk about. Sheesh. This was one thing. I had 4 or 5 other things written down to talk about, but now I know I talk. Well, let me know to anybody who's watching. I think this format's all right, and they'll kind of be free. We'll see what happens with them. But if you got questions, email me, primepurposemovement@gmail.com, or send me a message on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and I'll answer questions too, whatever. But yeah, that's so funny. I had so many other things written down. But we just talking about the darkness. Maybe we'll call this first episode The Darkness. But it was hard coming out of that room and just experiencing the day. And then just like, I couldn't even really be on my phone. I couldn't really be on my phone for the next couple of days because, I was just overwhelmed. I was like, man, life moves so fast. People are moving so fast, coming and going, and bills and events and text messages and DMs and comments and content. And, I was like, whoa, man, after 60 hours of doing nothing, being bored out of my mind, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And I just remember that. I was like, because it was such a meditative, spiritual event, or experience as well, like I always, and that's why I do things like that. That's why I do the breath work and the crazy meditations and the fasting and the darkness challenges and stuff. It's to try and be the best version of myself. And it's like when you're faced with really hard things, it's like, man, I feel like it's like a mirror. It's like, man, this is you and me. It's like there's no one to lie to. There's no one to put up a facade for. It's you versus you. It's not even you versus you. And that's always what you start to realize in these situations. It's like we're all one, and it's not even you versus you. It's like it is, because it's like maybe I should always speak more for myself, but it's like I am always the main issue. Because it always is. It's like we want to blame other people, but most of the time, why aren't you fit? The answer is always you. The answer is always you. You're not putting in the effort. Everyone knows that cheeseburgers are bad, or double bacon cheeseburgers are bad, and that you need to walk more around the block. We all know that, and it just applies, I think, to a lot more. Yeah, there's things like luck and opportunity that come into play, but and so anyways, that's what I truly believe deep in my heart, and that's the thing that I value the most is trying to find the truths and try not to bullshit myself, and trying to become a better person. That's what I'm and a better person for myself. It's a selfish goal. I think that if I'm better for me, I will put myself in I will become the best version of myself, giving myself the best opportunities and the most luck. And hopefully I can experience life through that, and then in turn, hopefully me being my best self, I can help others in whatever way they see, whatever way I can, Wow, that was a heavy first episode here. I didn't know how long we were gonna go. I didn't know if it was gonna be like 20 minutes. I didn't know if it was gonna be an hour or anything like that. But now you know a lot more about me. This was the first time I've ever really I've talked to some friends and some family and stuff about my experience in the darkness, but this is the first time I've really spoken about it publicly. Could be like 3 or 4 people, but thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and I hope I wrapped up all the loose ends of that story. It taught me a whole lot. I got a whole, but I thought it helped me as an artist. I thought it helped me as a man. I thought it helped me as a human, and I'm just out here growing and learning and, making art and now making content for y'all. It won't always be this heavy. This one got crazy. We started talking about cheesecake. I was crying somewhere in the middle of this one. And now, yeah. But thank you. Thank you so much for listening. My website will be back up. Yeah, if you like this, share with a homie. Follow the podcast, download the podcast, send me your questions. I'll be back next week at the same time. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. I hope you crush the rest of your week. Dream big. Never stop. You the illest. I'm the illest. Let's all kill this. Dream big. Then look at that dream and dream bigger. You can achieve everything that you want. I know this because I'm out here achieving everything that I can. Yeah. You're a beautiful soul. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, everybody. More love, more success. My name is JusJrdn. This was A Moment with Jay. Catch y'all next week.
Just like that, I like that. Stay dreaming, scheming, homie. Don't let the haters weigh you down. Smoke to split the list, you are not a one of y'all. Favor not, know the world's in your favor. I hope you know. With every darker night, there's a brighter day. Through the chaos, we'll be okay. Sending nothing but positive vibes your way. Love for always. Jay.